Hi, I'm Bob Kovacs, and I enjoy working on cars. To make working on cars easier, many years ago I got something called a QuickLift. It's a ramp that is the length of a car. You drive the car up it, then you jack up the low end and the car is up in the air and easy to work on. The neat thing about the QuickLift is that it doesn't require power. Another good point is that it is virtually maintenance-free. I really like the QuickLift, but I had to sell it when we moved from the house that had the garage. There was just nowhere to put it. Then we had an addition built, and that includes this garage, so it was time to get something to help me work on cars. This time I got a QuickJack, which is a powered lift made by BendPak. The QuickJack comes in 4 general varieties: 3,500, 5,000, 6,000, and 7,000 pound capacities. They're also available in long and short versions. The specific model I got was the BL5000 SLX. The QuickJack consists of 2 lift frames, one for each side of the car, and a power unit. To lift a car, you will need lifting blocks that mate with the lifting points on your vehicle. I got my QuickJack from Costco, which had a good price for the QuickJack that included an accessory kit with the lifting blocks. Here's what all the boxes looked like when FedEx delivered them to my house. The QuickJack came with a 39-page manual. Once I got all the parts spread out on the garage floor, I referred to the manual to get it all assembled. Putting it together didn't take long, but there are several steps and you need to pay attention to what you're doing. Also, the QuickJack did not come with hydraulic fluid. The manual lists several kinds of fluid that you can use, which includes automatic transmission fluid. The QuickJack will take about 2.1 quarts of hydraulic fluid. First, remove the shipping plug from the hydraulic cylinders. The manual says to use a 6mm Allen wrench, but I found a 1/4-inch Allen wrench fit better. With the shipping plug out, install an elbow in each cylinder. You should end up with the elbow pointing toward the short end of the QuickJack. Next are the short hydraulic hoses. One end threads directly onto the elbow. Just tighten it down snugly. The other end of the short hose, the end with male threads, gets a male quick connect fitting threaded onto it. Use thread sealant tape or a liquid thread sealer for this fitting. QuickJack supplied a liquid thread sealer with my system. Once the short hose is attached, route it under the short end of the QuickJack. This keeps it from getting pinched when the lift is lowered to the floor. There are 2 long hydraulic hoses, and each end gets a female quick connect fitting attached. I found the simplest way for me to do these was to use a vise to hold the end. I applied liquid thread sealer screwed on the quick connect fitting, then snugged it down with a wrench. The vise held the end of the hose steady and made this job easy. Since there are 2 hoses, that means there are 4 quick connect fittings to attach. The QuickJack has air cylinders that maintain pressure to help force down the lift when you lower it. These air cylinders have to be pressurized to 40 to 50 psi. I set my compressor to 45 psi. Remove the cap from the air valve. Release any pressure and oil that may already be in the air cylinder and apply 40 to 50 psi. Do not go more than 50 psi, as QuickJack warns that this could cause sudden failure of the air cylinder. Next, install the male quick connect fittings on the power unit. Remove the shipping plugs and thread in the 2 quick connect fittings. Do not use thread sealing tape or liquid thread sealer on these threads. Tighten them down with a wrench so that they are snug. Fill the reservoir on the power unit with 2.1 quarts. That's about 2 liters of hydraulic fluid. The reservoir gets filled to the point that there's about a ½ inch space at the top. There are a couple different kinds of caps for reservoirs. The one I got simply gets threaded on by hand. If your cap looks like this, do not use a wrench to tighten it. Now is the time to connect all the hoses and make sure that everything is tight and not leaking. If you are not sure about any hydraulic connection, keep the system off until you're confident that every fitting is solid and firm. This is important. You can get badly injured by a spray of pressurized hydraulic fluid. The final thing to check is that both lock bars, one for each lift assembly, move freely. These are an absolute safety requirement, so be sure to check. With everything together, bring a car in and line up the QuickJack lifts. My cars both have pinch weld lift points, so I got an accessory kit that included lift blocks for pinch weld lift points. Get everything lined up as best you can, then put on some goggles and press the lift button. It probably took 20 to 30 seconds for my QuickJack to start lifting, so take your time. Get the lift up to the point just before the lift blocks make contact and check to be sure they're lined up properly. I had to check 2 or 3 times to get everything right. Then I hit the up button again and raised the car to the first stop point. I checked that each lift block was positioned correctly, and I pushed on the car to be sure it felt secure. I want to emphasize that the QuickJack is only safe if the lock bars are properly locked in place. Do not go under a car unless the lock bars are locked. That is very unsafe. To lower the car, take the lift up a little further until the lock bars release. Then you can lower the QuickJack and confirm everything is working correctly. I lifted my other car, this time to the second stop point, which gets the car as high as it can go with the QuickJack. I checked to be sure you can get under a car with a creeper and discovered that's no problem at all. One important point to note is that the QuickJack moves the car laterally as the car is lifted. It moves at about 9½ inches. Be sure you plan for that 9½ inch lateral motion in your garage. I'm looking forward to working on my cars with my new QuickJack. I like doing basic maintenance like oil changes because I can get under the car and look at the condition of things from below. That way, I might spot something now that I can save from becoming a bigger problem later. With the QuickJack, I can now easily get under the car to do the maintenance. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I once had a competing product called a QuickLift. How does the QuickLift compare to the QuickJack? I could probably go on for 15 minutes, but let me say that the QuickLift is simpler to set up and use, and it is faster at getting a car up in the air. You just drive a car onto the QuickLift, jack up one end, and you're done. There are many more steps to lift a car using a QuickJack, and there are many more points of failure. That said, the QuickJack is ideal for working on wheels, such as doing a brake job or replacing a tie rod or shock absorbers. The QuickJack is also more portable and easier to get out of the way. A QuickLift is so bulky that I never moved it and I just parked a car on it, which is not something that everyone is willing to do. Those are my first impressions, and I'm sure I'll have more thoughts about the QuickJack in the future. Hey everybody, I'm Bob Kovacs. Thanks for watching.